Hello. Good evening all. Myself, Dr. Himanshu, on the behalf of Team Physio Inculcator, I would like to welcome you all in our today's webinar. It has been titled Resolving Shoulder from Frozen to Normal. So this webinar would be taken by our today's resource person, Dr. Tushar sir. Dr. Tushar is having more than 10 years of the clinical experience. He has also been uh, done their internship or the training at the Nirtar Institute, Odisha. He is also the member of the convener of the IAP at the Gwalior district. He has been post-graduated in the neurology and having a lot of experience. He has contributed many more papers and organized many conferences in the national as well as international platforms. So welcome you, sir, in our today's webinar. We are really thankful to you that you have spared the time for us and to share your precious knowledge. So it is our immense pleasure that you are here with us, sir. And again,
pleasure is all mine.
Thank you, sir. And again, it is a matter of honor for us that we have very senior faculty, physios and academicians present here with us. They are regularly joining us, and we are grateful to them for their continuous support, blessing, and love. I would like to welcome Dr. Kalpana ma'am, Jitendra sir, Harsh sir, and Amita ma'am. So all the senior faculties present here. I would like to welcome you all the participants who are present here, who spared their time to attend the session. So this is a matter of immense pleasure. Please keep learning. Stay tuned. Sir, over to you, sir. Tushar sir. Again, welcome to you, sir.
Good afternoon, all the professionals. Very good afternoon from my side. I'm Dr. Tushar Godge, and all the pleasure is mine. Himanshu, whatever Himanshu has said, the pleasure is all mine. That he has faith in me. And so now we are starting with our today's presentation, which is resolving shoulder from frozen to normal. Just in a moment, I'm getting the slide over here.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Himanshu.
Yes, yes. Slide is visible, sir. F5, F5.
F5, okay. So here we are today. The topic is resolving shoulder from frozen to normal. See, as all the people are professionals over here, तो मैंने बहुत basic जो अपने informations रहते हैं like anatomy, ball and socket variety, multi-directional, more mobile, less stable. इस तरह की basic slides को ना बनाते हुए, I have just come to the main point of what actually the adhesive capsulitis frozen shoulder is. And what we people are dealing in our regular practice, तो उसको मैंने बनाया हुआ है. तो I'm hoping that कि आप सब लोग जो है you should be knowing that and basic anatomy of shoulder. So we are keeping in that mind. बहुत सारे muscles के origin insertion की बात भी नहीं होगी, direct नाम की बात होगी. So whoever having any sort of query, वो question answers वाले section में they can ask me later on. Okay, so I'm physician and just showing his or her shoulder that it is not going to the backside or it is I am unable to take it to the overhead. So that particular terms frozen shoulder is get considered और physicians या orthopedicians अपने prescription में उसको term दे देते हैं कि it is frozen shoulder. But the movement limitation can be come from n number of reasons. Am I audible to everyone? Just Himanshu, just check it. Ki, everyone
yes,
is
yes,
able
yes.
to.
You are clearly audible, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, if your AC joint is involved, then only there is a limitation of shoulder. If your SC joint is involved, then only there is a limitation of shoulder. Just same in the case of pectoral muscles tightness with the trapezius spasm, and there are n number of other reasons in which shoulder range of motions get limited. So not everything is should be considered as a frozen shoulder, and it is the duty of a physiotherapist to rule out the exact cause and to rule out the exact thing, what is going with the shoulder. So there are two pics which is comparing the normal shoulder and frozen shoulder. In one pic, it is the capsule is not involved. There is no adhesions forming over there. And in the frozen shoulder or adhesive capsulitis of shoulder, there is a bit sort of red color is there, which is showing that significant adhesion of the capsular structures. Now this is a general classification of frozen shoulder. It is categorized into the four basic things. First is adhesive capsulitis. Second one is freezing shoulder. Third is frozen, and the fourth one is thaving shoulder. Now we are getting brief into all these categories. First is adhesive capsulitis. In this, capsular tightness begins to develop. Limited motion is detected in capsular pattern. Anterior capsule is more involved than the posterior one in most of the cases. So external rotation and abduction are most limited, whether internal rotation and flexion are least limited. Pain present at the end range. If it is treated in its early phase or acute phase, symptoms begin to subside. Treatment strategies in details when I have done with my presentation first. Second thing is freezing shoulder. Characterized by intense pain and movement limitation. Symptoms arise after 2 to 3 weeks of onset. Symptoms may last up to 10 to 36 weeks if left untreated. अगर आपने इसका ट्रीटमेंट नहीं लिया है तो इसके symptoms 10 to 36 weeks तक persist कर सकते हैं. And its treatment include graded mobilization, which should be into the range of grade 1 or grade 2, and range of motion exercises. And we can also incorporate the capsular pattern stretching. One is for the anterior capsule stretches, like this we can do with the, it comes along with the pectoralis major stretching, and the another one is posterior capsule. We will ask patient to keep his right hand over the left shoulder and stretch like this. This is the posterior capsule stretching along with the rotator cuff muscles, which is present backside. This comes the main term which we are dealing with, the frozen shoulder. It is characterized by pain during movement and significant adhesions, limited glenohumeral motions with altered scapulohumeral rhythm. As most of the people are knowing that scapula and humerus plays a very vital role during the shoulder movements. This particular rhythm gets disturbed in frozen shoulder condition. And the third, which is very significant diagnostic criteria of frozen shoulder, is it comes with atrophy of deltoid, rotator cuff, biceps and triceps muscles. Stage lasts up to 4 to 12 months. Treatment we'll discuss in detail in coming slides. Or later on, we'll focus over the treatment of frozen shoulder. So, is everybody okay with that? अभी तक सबको समझ में आ रहा है या कोई अभी तक डाउट हो तो we'll resolve it and we'll move to the next slide. If anyone is facing something, then he or she can ask.
Yes. If anybody has any doubt, they can write down in the chat box. Because I think they are not able to unmute themselves. No problem, sir. That is clear.
Okay. So should we continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. And the fourth one is thaving shoulder. Most of the time, no pain, no synovitis, but significant capsular restrictions are there. Stage lasts for 2 to 24 months. Some patients never regain full ROM who are diabetic or severely diabetic. Treatment is same as other stages, but inappropriate therapies may worsen the condition. Sometimes people go for the anesthesia and then resolve the shoulder range with the help of orthopedician or any other quacks who are dealing with the shoulder restrictions. By putting anesthesia, they move the whole joint in every direction, and when the anesthesia effect is gone, after that patient complains a lot of pain, and the things got worsened, which can be resolved, but after this sort of treatment, the things got vanished for lifetime. So there are so many people who encounter with this particular type of classification who are having limited range of motion of their shoulder for their lifetime. Common symptoms, most of the people are knowing that night pain is there. Patient come with this particular thing that that he or she is unable to sleep in the night due to the pain, disturbed sleep, pain at rest as well as in the motion during acute phase, decreased joint play, capsular pattern limitation. These all symptoms are you can find in all the 3 or 4 stages. This is mix up of all the common symptoms. Protracted and anterior tipped scapula, decreased arm swing during the gait. So by when the patient is entering at our consulting chamber, by looking at his arm swing also we can suggest that he is going with some sort of pathology in the shoulder. Poor glenohumeral muscle performance with less endurance and pain in neck muscles with overuse. Even the trapezius muscle, which is not concerned with the what we can say that is the shoulder complex, directly or indirectly it is attached to that. It also gets spasm due to the shoulder problems. And some everybody knows that there are n number of other symptoms, etc. I have write it down because the list is very long. So all these are the common symptoms which we are dealing with our daily practice. Altered biomechanics of shoulder. The most common point and important point is disturbed normal scapulohumeral rhythm. Rotator cuff weakness give loss of motion and support as well, because due to the pull of rotator cuff muscle, it tend to keep the humeral head. Like I'm having this model with me, and this humeral head, 3 muscles are majorly arranged backside of the supraspinatus fossa and infraspinatus fossa. From here, it is pulling up pressure to keep the humeral head inside the glenoid cavity, because there is a very abnormal ratio between the glenoid cavity and head of humerus. Head of humerus is too big than the glenoid cavity to get into it. So the rotator cuff muscle are the most supporting structure, and which is also providing stabilization to the humeral head to keep into the glenoid cavity. The third point is supraspinatus weakness give loss of static stabilization, because it is the only muscle which is supporting it anti-gravity in an anti-gravity position. And as most of the people have encountered that in most of the paralytic patients, we got a subluxation or sulcus sign present in shoulder of the paralytic patients. That particular sulcus sign is due to the supraspinatus weakness. When it lost its control and it lost its strength, the shoulder began to droop down and give a sulcus sign. So this particular muscle is of very utmost importance. Fourth point is anterior capsule having pectoral muscle attached to it. Adhesion. If there are more adhesion in anterior capsule and pectoral muscle is very much tight, it will tend to internally rotate the humeral head, which will limit the external rotation, and the vice versa will taken place in the posterior capsule. If posterior capsule is and the back muscles are very much tight, then they will limit the internal rotation movement. There are some factors which contributed to the shoulder pathologies and tend to give rise to the frozen shoulder is trauma to the joint, diabetes patient. 40% of the diabetes patient are at the risk of developing the adhesive capsulitis or shoulder. Chronic neck pain results in limited shoulder motion. As I discussed, if trapezius is overspasm or overused or is in spasm, if levator scapula is too tight, it will tend to create shoulder pathologies directly or indirectly. Third one is latissimus dorsi tightness, because this is the only muscle which is developing a connection between upper limb and lower limb, because it is getting arise from pelvis and getting attached to the humerus. This is the only muscle which is connecting both the extremities, and tightness of latissimus dorsi can give you shoulder pathologies. Prolonged immobilization of shoulder after any sort of surgery, after any fracture, or if there is a clavicle fracture and figure of 8 bandaging is there, it also can give you a certain limitation of movement of shoulder, and etc. I have placed, as there are n number of lists is there. So all these are the major factors which is contributing to the shoulder pathologies. The treatment approach, the basic treatment approach tend to take place over this particular line. Please pay attention over this particular thing. Superficial front arm line. One of the major importance line in the shoulder pathologies arise from latissimus dorsi, further get continuation to the pectoral muscle, then travels downwards from biceps brachii or intermuscular septum and up to the flexor muscles. So if you people have referred anatomy trains by Tom Myers, then you should know that what I'm talking about is, if you are dealing with shoulder pathologies, especially at the adhesive capsulitis and frozen shoulder, superficial front arm line is the basic unit to resolve all the shoulder pathologies which is having limited motion. So just have a snapshot of a screenshot of this particular thing. So as I will discuss the treatment in detail, you will keep in this particular thing in mind. All done. हिमांशु पूछ लीजिए एक बार सबसे.
Hello. Yes. If anybody.
ठीक है.
Yes. I think there is no query as such. If anybody has any query, they can ask. Yes, there is a question in the chat box, sir. Should I take the questions right now, or will take after the completion of the session?
Just after 2 slides. Just after 2 slides.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
There are 2 more slides are remaining. है ना?
Okay.
See, I've just write down these things: the release and strengthening, when to release and where and when to release, and where and when to strengthen. Muscles gone for tightness are the pectoral group, and in this particular thing, pectoralis minor, which act as a hidden culprit, is the majorly involved structure, which is spared so many times. So many therapists, so many healthcare professionals spared it, that they don't believe about this, its existence, and this particular thing creates so many problems. Other one is subscapularis, biceps and antedeltoid, because both are the facially interconnected with each other, and infraspinatus. Now muscle gone for weakness are middle deltoid, supraspinatus, lower traps, and serratus anterior. It's very mandatory to regain the normal scapulohumeral rhythm for full recovery of shoulder range of motions. And AC and SC joint also plays a very vital role in shoulder motions. So all these are the basic things which I have detailed. Now, now we can go ahead for the doubt section, because so many things we can only resolve with the doubts and their answers. The presentation is over for me. Now we will go for the doubt sections.
Yes, if anybody has any query, they can ask. Yes, there are a few questions in the chat box, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm just going for the uppermost question.
This is for the diabetes one, no?
Yeah.
We'll start with it. Yeah?
Varun Pratap Singh, I need to know one question. So I think we should do one thing. I'm giving you the permission to you all to unmute yourself. If anybody has any query, they can ask. unmute yourself and then ask. It would be, I think, bit easier. Yes. Anybody has any
Hello.
query?
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
One by one, please.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Dr.
Hello,
Dhanjit,
please.
please.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Dhanjit, you are
Yeah.
audible.
Thank you for. Thank you for your webinar. I want to not. I want to ask. I want to know about the treatment approach of that superficial fault line. Once again, please elaborate once again more.
Yeah. Superficial front arm line. It actually it starts from that we can relate it with latissimus dorsi. Then it goes to the pectoralis major. Then travels down into intermuscular septum. Majorly it follows the biceps brachii, and then it goes to the flexor muscles of the forearm. Like that it is. Dr. Dhanjit will come to that particular thing, how it is useful in releasing the shoulder.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, the question to you is, why is the prevalence of frozen shoulder more in diabetics? Is there any physiology behind that?
Yeah. There is a physiology because most of the diabetic patients having sorbitol accumulation in their bloodstream, which tend to get developed over the areas which is what we can say that which is not having that much amount of proper blood circulation. So once sorbitol is stuck into the fine capillaries, the blood circulation of that particular area is ischemic or not lost, but we can say that it is less as compared to the normal. So when there is a dryness of that particular capsule, it tend to get more and more fibrous and more complex. So that's why diabetic patients are much more in prevalence to